Welcome to RetroBytes episode 5. My name is Brian, and this is a show where Sam, Alan, and I will talk about video games and life in general. And on today's show, we look at the news. Is the indie game scene becoming oversaturated? What's your rainy day game? We break out the wheel discussion, and are we in the console war generation? Thank you for joining us today, and if you want to join us in the conversation, you can do so at our social media. If you go to linktree/Retrotopia, that's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, where you can find links to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Blue Sky channel, which we're starting to use a little more often, and our Facebook. You can also join our Discord by finding a link in that link tree as well. And if you wish to support us a bit more, you can come and join our Patreon for free, where you can get this episode 15 days early. As well, at the end of the episode, we will have a bonus topic for Patreon only. So head over to patreon.com/Retrotopia, sign up today. There you can be part of the community, you can comment on shows, you can submit comments and thoughts we read on future shows, you can suggest 5x5 topics, listen to our episodes of Quick Play, get this show 15 days early, and the exclusive content we're starting to add to it. So thank you very much for joining us, and let's get into the show itself. Alright, welcome to RetroBytes episode 5. I am Brian. I am also with Sam and Alan, and we are on the intro portion. And starting this episode, if you want to be part of the paid tier of Patreon, we're putting the pregame chatter on Patreon for all the paid tier members of our Patreon to listen to. But, as always, we start the episode with a little bit of catch-up. Sam, Alan, how are you guys? Let's start with Alan.
I'm actually pretty fried, I'm not going to lie. It has been just an awful day at work. The computer system for the entire department went down, and we were basically back in the fucking Stone Age, and it was awful. And I am looking forward to getting into it with you guys and having a lovely chat, because I think that's going to be just what I need to cheer me up.
While you hug your computer.
While I hug my computer and just pretend it's both of you.
Sam, how about you? How have you been? How was your day? Any better?
It was okay. Day's not done as far as work. Just taking a break to do this and then get back to it. But yeah, I think I had kind of a
don't tell them.
Yeah, no. Kind of an oddly stressful week last week, but I think things cleared up a little bit for me, and I feel a little bit better. Had got some things off my plate, and yeah,
nice.
Nothing too exciting over here. Just keeping it real low key. The time change of a couple weeks ago is still fucking with me a little bit. Not enjoying.
Yeah, I don't like how dark it gets.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying it being dark at like 4:00.
Yeah. Yep.
So
absolutely.
Yeah,
see,
that's where we're at.
That's something that still, that's something that still fucks with me. Is one of the over the summer I went to a comedy show for a guy from RTG, like Adam Blank there. And I was talking to some of the Americans who came up, and they were amazed that it was like 9:00 and still sunny outside. I never even thought that the further south you go, the shorter the day actually is. Because for us, like 9:00 at night for where we live, in the middle of summer is perfectly normal to be light. And then when you say it gets dark at 4:00, well, here it's 4:15 as we record this, and the sun is still up. So it's just...
Wait a second, though.
It still blows my mind. Yeah, it's not that much further south, but it's further enough, apparently.
Yeah, I guess. Where are these jabronis from? Because we're around here.
They were... Well, they were around the New York or further south.
What? Come on, guys. No, don't be...
Well, I don't...
I was going to say,
I don't think they were amazed.
Don't be so amazed by that, because it's pretty light outside here at 9:00, too, in the summertime.
Yeah, but I'm saying just simply because they're used to the sun starting to go down around 8:00 and then it being dark by 9:30 or whatever. I don't know. That's what they said. That's all I'm going to fucking go with this. Get off my ass.
No, I disagree.
Jesus Christ. I'm just regurgitating information. Holy crap.
Well, I
and
suppose...
you're just like, nah, those fucking liars.
No, I suppose in the Eastern time zone, too, the further east you go, it does probably get darker a little earlier than it does for us.
I don't think that's how the sun works.
Well, it's how time zones work.
I think it's in the north and south because the planet tilts, and the further north you go during the summer, the sun stays in the sky a lot more because it's going over the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, that would be great if the Earth weren't
Like
flat.
if you go, yeah, if you, Earth is flat. Come on. Anyways, if you go to the Arctic, there you get daytime 24 hours a day in the summer, and nighttime 24 hours a day in winter.
Both of those sound awful, by the way.
They are.
I don't think I'd be able to deal with
because
that.
you need that sun. Yeah.
Do you think that's what happens where Alan's bottle of scotch is in that random place?
Oh,
You mean Hans Island?
Yeah, that
yeah.
place.
Oh, it's not there anymore.
You went and,
Alan swam.
you went and retrieved it.
Booze, swish.
I am a man. I'm a man of my word.
Awesome.
Brian.
All right, so what have you guys been playing lately? Oh, I guess, yeah, I haven't really talked about my day, have
what
I?
are you
No,
doing?
go ahead.
Oh, man, let me tell you. Okay, fine. I'm going to let it all out now. I hate group projects. I hate group projects with people who I have a personality conflict with. It's not fun. And when you're working with somebody with zero life experience who thinks they know everything and never asks a question in class, only gives answers unnecessarily, somebody like me is going to end up having like a personality clash with them because I'm there to learn, not there to listen to a student talk about knowing the entire program already.
Brian,
So
if you
that
have a
person's
problem,
in my group.
if you have a problem with me, Brian, you can just tell me to my face.
Oh, that's why I got plane tickets.
kidding.
No, keep,
Yeah.
keep talking
did?
shit behind his
Anyways,
That'd be awesome, actually.
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that caused me some stress this week, and it turned out to be a pretty bad Monday for me because I didn't get to bed till like 2 in the morning because I don't know, I just stayed up fighting with them all night.
back.
And so Monday I was completely wiped out the entire day. I was on autopilot, and then last night I took a gummy, like a CBD gummy there, and I crapped out by like 8:30. Had the best sleep of my night. Now I'm in a good mood today. The sun was out all day, starting to go down. Will be dark soon, but no. Other than that, just mostly classwork. I did get a drawing tablet though for my computer.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
exciting.
Now my photoshopping is amateur with style.
Oh, God. You know he's
Now
going to
you can
abuse that power.
Anyways.
You can sign your name in the corner.
I can put so many dicks in people's mouths. That's the only reason I'm learning Photoshop right now. It's just everybody. I'm going to do that thing from South Park. Kyle's dad there, Gerald Broflovsky. I'm going to start putting dicks in mouths until the Dutch come after me.
You get a dick. You get a dick.
All right, so what have you guys been playing besides the obvious games for the upcoming episodes? Anything
Well,
we really haven't talked about?
I've been playing the obvious games for the upcoming episodes. But aside from that, I'm about, like a chapter or so away from finishing Resident Evil 4 Remake, which
Hoorah.
which has been a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know which one I prefer. I mean, they're both brilliant games. I think the original has the nostalgia value going for it, but they did a pretty good job with this remake. Not gonna lie. So that's been a lot of fun. Proper survival horror. I'm still slogging our way through Borderlands. I don't mean slog. I really fucking love Borderlands, but yeah, we're working through Borderlands 2 still, and Harvest Moon 2 on the Game Boy Color, which
Oh my.
yeah, I like a bit of a farming game every once in a while. It's
Oh, yeah,
nice and
how's that
chill.
one going?
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's a very early one, so it's a tad basic. So, once you've harvested and watered and sorted your animals out, there's not a whole lot else to do. So a lot of the days are just doing that and waiting until you've got enough money to buy something else, which I guess is the thing with farming sims. But I could do with a little more meat, but I can't give it shit for that because it's a fucking Game Boy game. It's going to be basic, and I'm going to start a little game called Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver very, very shortly.
Ooh.
And I'm very, very happy.
Why are you doing that, Alan?
Well, Brian, because you guys are treating me for the Christmas holidays and let me rant about it. I'm so excited.
Hey, we're all here to work as a team. Blah blah blah. Motivational speech retreat in December at Alan's house.
Yeah, come on over. I'll put the mulled wine on.
There we go. Sam, what have you been
Put it
playing?
on what?
You, Sam, all over you.
Oh. I've been playing Sonic 2 and Mega Man X, both games. I'm at the final boss and frustrated with both. I would say I'm rusty at Sonic 2, but I think I'm all right at Sonic 2. I just don't think I don't think I was ever quite good at the final boss. That final boss is a real dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those will be for upcoming episodes. And then in what spare gaming time I have, we've been playing Silent Hill 2 remake. We've been making our way through slowly because the lady and I are very anxious people. And so if we play too much Silent Hill 2, it starts to fray our nerves a little bit. So we take that with in small chunks. But then over the weekend we started playing this game on Xbox called The Quarry. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's kind of like what would you call it? Like an interactive movie almost, where it's not a lot of action, but you're kind of exploring and making decisions for the characters, what they say or how they react. So we played that for a couple hours this past weekend, and looking forward to getting more into that because that's actually kind of a fun concept. I've never played anything quite like it. And there's actually
neat.
Yeah, there's actually like regular actors in it that are in other things and actually they're kind of animated or video game versions of themselves look exactly like them. It's like David Arquette is in it, and
no way.
Brenda Song. There's some other like recognizable names and faces in it that it's kind of like, oh, I know who that is, but it's weird to see them as a video game character.
So it's kind of like I guess Until Dawn or maybe some of the Telltale's games.
I think so. I've never played one quite like it, so I wouldn't be able to compare. But yeah, it's called The Quarry, and it's I know it's on Xbox. I'm sure it's on other stuff too, but pretty neat. It's like a slasher summer camp type movie.
Those kind of games are like just as much fun to play as they are to watch. So they're perfect games. Like I played the Walking Dead ones, and the missus sort of watched, and it's just as tense watching them as it is just like having to make the decisions, because you are literally just watching a show if you're not playing it.
Yeah, then it is exactly like that. If that's what the Telltale games are like, then that's probably exactly what this is basically. But there's a whole what? Yeah.
You should check them out. If
yeah,
you like this.
I think it would be fun. There's a whole cast of characters, and basically when you start the game, you can. It was almost like picking teams for dodgeball. We just assigned the characters to player 1 or player 2, and we just pass the controller back and forth and make the decisions.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Brian,
what do you got?
Oh man, after Sam there, like I just feel like I've been playing nothing. Xenogears mostly. I've been trying to finish Xenogears, and I've been getting about 3 hours a week of actual good, honest to God gameplay out of it. So I'm about 10 hours into it, but I made it further than I did my last attempt to play through the game. So I'm going to continue pushing forward and just get through this game. I finished it when I was young, but I've been wanting to play it again for a long time, so I'll do it. And then I've been playing, of course, Sonic 2, but that one is frustrating me because I'm not a big Sonic guy, so I don't have any memories of the game, so I'm figuring it out as I go along, and fuck the Chemical Zone.
What?
Whoa,
Great music.
Whoa,
Shitty
You watch your mouth.
Whoa. Hold on. I'm out. It's been fun.
Bye, Alan.
It's been fun, guys, but
it's going to be fun talking
Anyways,
about what our favorite tracks are from that game, because holy fuck, that music bangs.
the whole.
I'll get more
thing.
into why on the actual episode, but there is a reason behind why I'm not having fun with the chemical zone. And let's just say it's not the chemicals.
Okay, because I was gonna say there's a part that fucked me over as a kid plenty, that I pretty much can well avoid now. But man, I'm willing
to bet I know what it is as well.
Yeah.
All right, but let's save that for the actual episode there, because
yeah.
if people start hearing this, the Patreon's going to go mad with rumors, and they're going to start making stuff up. You know how those kids get.
Oh, I started playing Xenogears too. I posted that on my Instagram. I got Xenogears to run on the Steam Deck.
Well, that is going to be an upcoming game as well, because you guys decided to throw me a bone here and pick that game since I was already playing it.
Oh,
help motivate me to finish it.
Do you suggest playing it with a guide? Because I sometimes will just try to see what I can do without one, but I don't want to waste my time like I did with Dragon Quest 3.
I'm not playing it with a guide.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not playing with a guide right now, but every so often if I run into like right now there's a spot where I have to go find a spot to sleep and all the beds don't react to me pressing the button, so I got to look up how to do that, and then that'll just get me to the next part.
It happens at my house sometimes. Other than that, really sucks.
Yeah, the game's been on rails the entire way. So.
Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for. Like,
oh, I just got your joke. Jesus Christ, I'm slow.
Very funny. But anyways, yeah, like on rails or very linear is helpful, because that was my problem with Dragon Quest 3, which I was playing. I was on that episode of Retro Wars, and I didn't finish the game, and I actually really didn't get very far into it because I kind of fucked myself over early on. And I should have been using a guide. That game is complex on the level that like a Final Fantasy VIII is complex. You should really not. Oh, no, that's gonna make me sound stupid. You definitely need to set yourself up early for success in that game, and using a guide will help you do that.
I don't think that sounds stupid though, because Final Fantasy VIII, fantastic game, but some of it's not as intuitive as like I think they think.
Right. Yeah.
So you're good, buddy.
Well, they literally send you to school right when the game starts.
Yeah,
of course,
but
you need that education.
Yeah,
I flunked.
All right. So what's coming up on the show here? We got Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will be it's released this weekend as we record. So the Patreons will have this RetroByte episode out before it comes out. It'll be already out for the people on the free feed. Also, Mega Man X, same thing. Soul Reaver after that. And then a game I'm actually looking forward to a lot is Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose. I've heard good things about that game.
It's so fucking good.
Is that what it is? I got Buster Busts a Nut. That's a completely different game. Fuck.
No, but
back to the drawing board.
Can I borrow that?
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh. All right. Shall we start this? Shall we go to the news?
Let's go to the news.
Yeah, I'm gonna slice something in there this time. So whether I cut this little bit of talking out, we'll see.
Well, I think you should. I think you should leave it in because it sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The news with Retrotopia. All right, so first story actually comes courtesy of Alan giving me this one a lot earlier, because I had actually heard a rumor about this that was completely off of what an actual story said. So, story number one is the NSO secret online playtest quickly leaks. So Nintendo's recent Nintendo Switch Online playtest launched to test a new multiplayer feature quickly faced widespread leaks. Players stream gameplay and share details despite instructions to keep the content private. Nintendo has announced a playtest to improve its multiplayer infrastructure, allowing users to explore features reminiscent of sandbox games like Minecraft and Dreams. In the test, players could gather resources and design shared online world with individual building zones known as beacons, where the player could customize and interact with items. The playtest aimed to gauge the server's performance with significant player interactions. The rapid leak raised questions about Nintendo's approach to secrecy. Critics argue that the leaks were inevitable with a large group of testers. Some speculate that Nintendo may have anticipated the leaks and used them as publicity, while others feel that the lack of an NDA or stricter controls showed a degree of oversight. This situation mirrors Nintendo past challenges with controlling pre-release information, sparking speculation on whether Nintendo might adjust its approach for future tests. So yes,
there it is.
Who expected that leak to happen almost instantly?
I've got to say, if they intended to keep this quiet, doy, because come on. Oh, please, please, guys! Like, we're going to show you this new and completely secret Nintendo feature. Arguably one of the biggest games on the planet, biggest game manufacturers on the planet. Pretty please don't tell anyone about it.
No,
that would be cool.
Use an NDA in that case.
Yeah,
come
Pinky
on,
swear?
Come
this
on.
isn't their first rodeo.
No,
No.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't think about the possibility of them using it as publicity, but that kind of would make sense because
it's totally a publicity stunt. Like, we have a super secret project, don't leak it, wink, as they leave the top secret file folder behind.
Right. I mean, Nintendo's been doing this kind of shit for decades. Like, this like rumor mill type shit has been going on for a long time. Like, even within the past year or so, with the dual screen patents and that information for potential upcoming Switch console, whatever's coming next, and even going back to the Dolphin or the Nintendo PlayStation, all that kind of shit. I don't know. It's been happening forever.
But to be fair for Nintendo, normally the rumors start from other people, and then Nintendo just doesn't acknowledge them.
Right.
And then people get pissed off when the rumor turns out to be untrue. And they blame Nintendo for it.
Right.
Yeah,
but I think Nintendo is whatever.
Yeah. Nintendo are notoriously tight-lipped. So, and like you said, they've been in the game for longer than pretty much anyone else at this point. And it's like, I don't think an oversight is, I suppose it's possible that it's an oversight, but at the same time, it's just like, you only hear what Nintendo wants you to hear, I think.
That sounds ominous.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's the British accent. That's what we said. We're all evil. Mr. Bond, you only hear what I want you to hear.
Well, this sandbox sounds like the beginnings of what's it called, the fucking Oasis from Ready Player One.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
If only
you just have to push the Nintendo Switch really close to your face.
You just get a headset and strap a Switch to it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, they actually have a VR headset for the Switch called Labo. It's those cardboard.
It's
cardboard. Things you could buy for, I don't know. Yeah, 5-6 years ago, and you slide your Switch into it. You don't remember Labo?
I remember. Nintendo is such a fucking weird company sometimes.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, they had all that kind of crap. Like, you can make a little arcade and shit like that.
They looked neat, but there was no way I was buying that shit. Like, can you imagine? Like, it would you would not still have it now. Let's be honest.
From the company that innovates on the level of the Nintendo Wii, it's like our version of the VR headset is fucking cardboard.
It's just like, yeah, the Virtua Boy was a huge success. No. Let's do it again, but in cardboard.
But here's the funny part is there was actually for cell phones to make them 3D headsets. There was a Google cardboard, or I don't know if it was Google or not, but it was a cardboard thing that you could buy for $2, and you folded it, and it had two lenses, and you set your phone to 3D mode, and you dropped it in, and it would actually fake 3D. It just didn't come with a head strap.
Yeah, my parents got a quote-unquote 3D headset that you stick your phone in, and I think my mom ended up accidentally calling 911 with it, because you stick it in there and you couldn't access your phone, and I think the way the buttons were being held, it did an SOS call.
Awesome. That's wonderful. All right, let's move on to the second story because this one has a little more conversation potential. So number 2, console arm race has plateaued, says former Sony executive. Speaking at Gamescom's Asia 2024, former Sony PlayStation executive Sean Layden highlighted his belief that the arms race of console hardware advancements has plateaued. According to Layden, the traditional model of ramping up technical specs with each new console generation is reaching diminishing returns, primarily as the industry focuses on elements like teraflops and marginal graphical improvements. Layden mentioned that enhancements in resolution and ray tracing are becoming less perceptible, to the average gamer and no longer justify the skyrocketing development costs. He noted that this incremental approach could no longer sustain the current price of AAA games without rethinking the console's business model. Layden also expressed concerns about the current gaming economy, particularly as the cost of game development soars. He argued that the pricing was more straightforward to manage when games were cheaper to produce. Still, as budgets for AAA games have grown to the hundreds of millions, there has been a need for monetization models beyond the traditional single purchase price. He suggested that the industry explore ways to make development more financially sustainable and perhaps revisit the mid-size AA game category, allowing for a broader range of creative projects at lower cost. The former executive's statements reflect a broader concern in the gaming industry about balancing quality, price, and accessibility. As companies consider these challenges, Layden's call for a hard reset could push developers and publishers to innovate beyond hardware and focus on the content that resonates deeply with players. What do you think about that? Do you think the arm race is over? Do you think consoles have peaked or plateaued?
I kind of agree with everything that you've just said.
Yeah, kind of
everything that you've just read. I mean,
summarized from multiple news articles.
I mean, I love my PlayStation 5. Don't get me wrong, but this has got to be, in my opinion, like the weakest generation. I mean, I've been playing, PS5 games and what have you for a couple of years now, and I'm looking at some of them and just thinking, this could run on a PS4.
Right.
And I know a lot of them do, but I mean, just in the state that they're in. Now, I don't notice things like ray tracing. I don't notice things like whatever fucking else we're talking about. And I just don't...
Teraflops.
Yeah, teraflop. I learned what that was 2 minutes ago. I still don't know what it is, actually.
It's a lot of flops.
Going to your point, Alan, the only thing I like about the PS5 over the PS4 is how fast it loads.
Sure.
When I first got the PS5, I was playing Final Fantasy 15, so I ported my game over, including my save file, through the cloud, and the loading time was cut by 1/3. And Final Fantasy 15 on a PS4 takes a while to load. But on the PS5, it was cut down to like 10-15 seconds. It was an amazing upgrade for that, but graphically, I noticed no difference.
No, exactly. And I'm just like, you're buying an extra like £600-700 or dollar or what have you console for loading times. And it's just like, yeah, the games look great, don't get me wrong, but you look at the jump between PS2 and PS3 or PS1 and PS2, like, my God, you fucking notice that. It's definitely slowed down, and that point of diminishing returns is just like 100%. And I think we're just reaching the sort of top of the bell curve, as it were.
Yeah, there's really nowhere to go from here. Graphics aren't going to get any better. I mean, everything looks fantastic. Processing power isn't going to be challenged for the next little while, I don't think. Realism is the next step, like things looking photorealistic, and for some cases they actually do. But going for the ray tracing there, I did actually take the time to figure out what it looks like, and Spider-Man was the best example I can think of. In the PS4 version, as you climb a building, you'll get reflected what's behind you in the glass of the building up to a certain point, and then it's just a generic reflection of the background that doesn't mimic what's behind you. With ray tracing on the PS5, the higher you climb, you still get the reflection of what's actually behind you all the way to the top. It's neat if you pay attention, but it's not something that, unless you're looking for, you really notice.
I mean, if it's still a game that doesn't play well or that you're not enjoying, the ray tracing is not going to put it over the top for you.
No.
So it's, to me,
No.
like, I find more enjoyment in, like I mean, obviously we're a very specific type of gamer that likes retro collections and indie games and shit like that. But I think there are quite a few of us, not an insignificant amount of console gamers as a whole, that prefer indie games to big AAA titles. I have way more fun with like having just played like Axiom Verge than, you know,
Mm.
I don't know, Jedi Fallen Order, which is a fine game, but like, I don't know if I would prefer to play one or the other. Like I'd play like an indie Metroidvania before I'd play, something big AAA.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that brings us to that double A game category thing,
Yes.
which is like, that's why we like these retro games so much, because there was a hell of a lot more variety back then.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you had studios taking chances rather than having to justify their overblown budgets by playing it safe and making something that they know full well is going to sell. Like, I do genuinely miss those days where you'd get like these completely batshit insane, like, just random games where people were just putting their ideas out there without worrying too much about, the dollar, as it were. And some of those games are just like my nostalgia. They're those niche little titles that you'll talk to somebody and say that that is their, not guilty pleasure, but it's their what random game did you play as a kid that nobody else has ever heard of? And you
Yeah.
just don't
Where's
get that anymore.
Yeah.
Booger Man?
Well, you get it in indies more often. Like the nice thing about indies is they're passion projects by actual gamers. They're not purchased by big companies with businessmen and CEOs at the top telling you to cut this and add that
Mm,
because it'll sell more units.
Right.
yeah,
That's the problem with AAA games is they have nothing to do with the actual game and everything to do with turning a profit on the game.
yeah,
That's why you get problems like you're getting at Ubisoft right now is because the passion's gone. Like the developers are dead inside because they're making a product for the board of directors.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love those games. Like your Assassin's Creeds, your God of Wars, things like that. It's just like I do genuinely still enjoy them, but it's a bit like this current trend in like movies of just remaking everything, because it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I've seen. I want to see something new. I want to see like a
Yeah.
new
Stop
IP.
making sequels.
Yeah.
Stop making sequels that have bigger open world maps. It's kind of ridiculous. Let the developers and the people who make the games build something that they think people will like because they probably know more than Johnny Suit sitting up in the C-suite.
Let the designers give you their art.
Exactly. Sam, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, something did occur though. Like, I'd love to see the kind of the numbers behind when all is said and done. I mean, Echoes, that new Zelda game, obviously came out pretty recently, so we probably don't
Mm.
have like a full idea of how successful it was. But I'd love to see that compared with like a Tears of the Kingdom. And Tears of the Kingdom was a huge release, but for the most part, at least the people that I've talked to, Brian, you're included in this because I don't think you ever finished it, was like, yeah, it was fun, but like it's just another open world game and I just didn't have time for it or I didn't have the energy for it. And I did end up finishing it, but it was like, yeah, it's just another big, huge open world game. And
Yeah,
Yeah, after a while, you just either you run through the main quest like I did with Horizon Frozen Zero and Final Fantasy Rebirth,
yeah,
or like you said, you just tap out like I did with Tears of the Kingdom. It's
and that's sad because
played it
like
enough. I got my money's worth.
I started it and then I bounced off of it, and I do want to go back, and I know I'll enjoy that game. Like, there's no chance that I won't. I mean, my fucking wedding was like Zelda themed. I'm in love with that series and that franchise.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just like
Don't tell his wife.
something like, I mean, I haven't played Echoes yet. She has. She loved it.
Yeah, it's on my short list for
But
sure.
give me that old school Zelda. Give me, Link's Awakening, stuff like that. It's just, yeah, too much is too much.
That's why, like, in the 2000s, we really hit that golden age of, like, top-down Zeldas on, like, the GBA and the Game Boy Color. You know, like those Capcom Zelda games and the shit on the DS and, like, just...
Ages and Oracles, Minish Cap, you had all those types of games. Even Wind Waker was a good size game.
Yeah. Wind Waker is just spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it absolutely is. All right, moving on to the next story, and you two with kids will love this one. So Roblox is adding protection for kids under 13 years of age. Roblox is introducing stricter parental controls to enhance safety for its younger audience, particularly users under 13. Starting next month, children under 13 will require parental permission to access chat features, and users under 9 will face new content restrictions on material with moderate violence or humor, and they can be bypassed with parental approval. Additionally, a new account type will allow parents more control, enabling them to monitor and adjust settings from their devices without relying on the previous PIN system. Roblox is implementing these changes amid rising criticism regarding child safety on its platform following incidents where young users were exposed to inappropriate content and privacy risks. These updates are part of a broader strategy to reinforce trust with parents and address public concern over online safety for children in gaming communities, especially in the light of regulatory scrutiny in various regions.
Thank fuck.
I know. Your kids, Sam, your kids play Roblox?
Yeah, my oldest does. My younger two like it too, but I don't think they have their own accounts.
They're not addicted yet.
And it's funny because, like, I even downloaded it on my PS5 to let them play it on there, and I ended up having to just delete it because it kept popping up like messages to try to sell extra skins or access to different games and whatever bullshit they try to sell on there. And it's like, since I downloaded it on my PS5, it was like linked through my PSN account and my credit card, and I was like, fuck this, no way is someone hitting the wrong button on accident and buying shit on Roblox. So no, it's good. But I think, like, that chat feature that's down the side, like, I don't think my daughter pays any attention to it, but I was watching her play something once, and, like, the shit people say on there is just like, why is this allowed? This is a game
because adults get on.
I know, but it's for kids, and it's like,
I know.
These features this is a measure that's too late as far as I'm concerned for a game that is for kids, basically, of this age group. We don't need, like, the kind of disgusting things that people were saying in those chat features.
Yeah, luckily my kid uses Google Meets to talk to his friends from school when they play Roblox, so they're not on the chat in the game. But my kid plays VR a lot, and he plays this one game called Gorilla Tag, and you can hear everybody talking in the thing there, and it's all kids for the most part. But every so often you'll get an adult, like, show up there, and as soon as, like, they start saying stuff that's off, not right, I tell my kid to get out of that room. Like, get out of that room and switch to another one, because if you're an adult joining a room full of kids, or even if you're, like, an older teenager, 16 or above, you got problems.
Yeah, you just don't belong in there.
I'm sorry, but yeah, play with people of your own age, or if they're making fun of you, then, well, too bad. Don't bring your goddamn creepiness towards kids, and that's something I'm glad Roblox is taking a look at, but it's not going to work for a while, because things that require parental intervention there, people who use the PIN system and monitor their kids, they're going to use this, but people who don't aren't going to all of a sudden figure it out. Like, what about the parent that just hands their kid an iPad and just lets them sit on the couch and play?
I think
that's all too common.
Yeah, now that you...
Yeah, like, my kid has a computer in the in the dining room area, but we can walk up and check on him and do all that kind of stuff. It's just...
No, Junior, this is the type of porn you should be looking at.
No, it's spelt with an ER. An ER, son.
I think,
Not an A.
Sam, we get one per episode, and you're getting the bonk.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
But I know this.
The more we talk about this, the more this just sounds like a half measure. Like, really what they need to do is leverage AI to find people that are saying things that are racist, sexist, sexual, like, stuff that shouldn't be said on Roblox and just like kind of purge the roles basically. Like if there's someone out there who's, you know, saying things that they shouldn't be saying to a bunch of kids playing Roblox, they should just have their accounts deleted. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and their IP's banned.
Right.
Fair.
Just completely lock them out.
Absolutely. Can I just like give a special shout out there to like to our very own Brian, because when you said, you know, you're sitting there watching your kid play games and like literally just tell him to get out of rooms when it gets shady, it's like more parents need to be like Brian. Like that like I've got a lot of respect for that, mate. That's,
yeah, Brian,
well,
can you come be my daddy?
Oh,
anytime, buddy, anytime.
I,
but no, it's
I already used the bonk.
It's because I am a gamer that I can do this. Is because, well, not I can do this, but I do this is because I've been online and I know what type of people are online. I don't want my kid exposed to things he doesn't need to be exposed to. Like if he ended up in a chat room that talked about the U.S. election, I would just be like, "Don't do it, buddy. Be a kid."
Yeah.
But you know, if something's being sexualized or so, like, he goes to this one Roblox game, and it's basically an arena fighter, and that's all it is. And he does moves that are stolen from various different animes, and he laughs and he giggles and he has fun. And you know, you'll hear kids in the chat there, you know, swearing at each other because, well, let's be honest, they are gamers. You got to have a little leeway on that. But he doesn't sit there and get frustrated, angry anymore. He's actually learned a lot of patience. So we keep him in a spot we can see him to keep him honest. But we originally had him up in his bedroom and he just never came out. So
Yeah, that was me.
now we get to see him once in a while.
Good stuff.
All right, let's go on to our final story before we get into our actual topics. This one actually is, what is it? The mushroom growing out of the pile of shit. I don't know how to say good thing out of bad thing. Anyways, number of freelance developers in the UK triples due to layoffs and studio closures. The number of freelance game developers in the United Kingdom has tripled over the past year, driven by a surge in layoffs and studio closures. Research from the TIGA, a UK game industry trade body, found that freelancers rose from 1,102 in April 2023 to 3,625 by May 2024. Industry challenges, including high turnover and financial pressures, have reshaped the employment landscape as studios reduce costs and scale back operations. The shift mirrors global consolidation trends and rising layoff within the gaming sector. So that's good news. That is good news for those people who lost a job, that they are basically not being tied down by big studios anymore and just being guns for hire.
Yep.
Alan, did you do this? Is this your responsibility?
Everything in the UK is my responsibility,
Okay.
Sam.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You thought right. You thought right. This is
Okay.
this is all on my watch. Yeah.
Good job.
So that's just a funny question because, you know, we used to joke all the time here in Canada. You go down to the States and the first thing Americans would do when they found out you're Canadian is like, do you know John?
Yeah. Do you know this other one Canadian person I know?
Yeah. In a country that's the second largest on the planet. Oh, yeah, John. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is,
Anyways.
the thing is, you do know him. You all know each other.
Do.
You know, stop fronting. You know.
It's true.
But this
going back on topic, yeah,
this
is very good news for the industry.
We are going to get so many fucking, or literally what I was just talking about. Like, this makes me hopeful for what I just said not like 5 minutes ago about getting all of those weird and quirky and interesting and new games and just new IPs and just I mean look at the indie stuff that's been coming out. I mean, I know indie games are not new, but you know, some of the stuff we've been getting lately, literally like The Messenger, Sea of Stars, things like that jump to mind. It's just like those are some of the greatest games that I've played in the last like 10 years, and I'm going to cut you off here because that actually leads into topic one, which is based on our last stories. What are your thoughts on more independent developers emerging, and will the indie scene become oversaturated? Is there a bubble that'll pop if too many games flood the market?
There's always that possibility, but you know, with indie games, there's already a shit ton out there that no one's ever heard of, and the cream rises to the top.
Cream will rise to the top,
Yeah. But I mean, the good games will get the attention that they deserve. because there are enough outlets out there like us, like other, obviously there's way more well-known and successful outlets, whether they be podcasts or YouTubers or I don't know, there's not bloggers anymore, are there? But
No, they still exist.
people who review video games, and there's a ton of video games out there to talk about, and I think the ones that are the most deserving of attention in that indie scene will get the most attention. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But do you
I'm
think?
sure there's
Do you
a
think
point.
there's a bubble?
I'm sure there's a point. I'm sure that the bubble is a lot more. There's a lot more leeway to this bubble bursting than, the AAA market, for example.
Well, you think about how long the AAA market has been dominating. It's if there is an indie bubble and if it will pop, then it's a long way off, and it's kind of a trend that we've seen before because, I mean, you think about the video game crash back in 80 whatever 3 4 whatever it was, and you could argue that that was a lot of indie developers oversaturating the market, and then from the ashes of that came Nintendo, came quote unquote kind of AAA games, or at least the seed of AAA games, and now that's getting to a point where, as we've discussed, the development costs and what have you are just becoming too unmanageable, and then from that, I'm not going to say it's going to crash, but something has to give there, and I think it's just like it's waves of trends.
Yeah.
The indie games will become popular, and then eventually that surge will die down, and then something will come to replace that. Maybe this new AAA thing that they figure out. But it's really interesting to watch, but it's also really weird that we've been alive long enough to see it happen.
Yeah. Think about that
And-
initial crash though, because a lot of that was, like you said, indie developers, but it was all funneled through basically one system. So it's like that was a bunch of indie developers flooding the market with Atari games. This is like indie developers, and they can release it on anything, like whatever platform you play on, if it's like Steam or Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox, like there's just a lot more room for all of this instead of trying to
Absolutely.
funnel it all down into one. Yeah.
Which is why I think it's a bubble that will take a long time
Yeah.
to pop.
Yeah.
There's, like you say, there's a lot of leeway there.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to pop because it's just another genre of games. It's kind of like fighting games won't burst their bubble either because it's a genre. But I do think it can become oversaturated. Like Sam said, like the cream rises to the top, and you're going to get the best games obviously out there. But those best games also tend to be published by larger companies. So reality is they're independently made, published by Nintendo. An example of that would be Journey, which is an independently made game but published by Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So it's eventually, I think the indie market might be absorbed into the larger thing, and indie, the genre, is just going to be used to describe smaller scope games.
Like the
Well,
distro.
you're already kind.
So-
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, like the distribution is going to go through, it's almost like the streaming wars where like, the big streaming conglomerates will try to go and snap up content to have on their platforms. It may be the same where these indies are going to gain popularity, and your PlayStation, your Sony, your Xbox are going to try to make more or gain rights to their exclusivity via their platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's already happening now.
A little bit, yeah.
Xbox snapping up studios. I don't think
Well,
PlayStation. Go on.
Xbox with the indies have. It's a safe bet because their Game Pass there will pay for the development costs of the indie game, and then you make your money back and a little bit of profit. So that's why you see a lot of indie games going the way of Game Pass day one releases, is because they are recouping their development costs.
Yeah.
I've not had any experience with Game Pass until very, very recently, and just like looking through the options on there, it's like, god damn, there's some good shit on Game Pass, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. That's the only reason I have an Xbox right now is because of Game Pass.
Yeah, that's the only reason I would get one, for them,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, I got a Series S, and like you said, there's loads of stuff on Game Pass, and it's you might just try something that otherwise you would never have bought, and
Oh, a couple of times I've already done that.
yeah, and that gives them a foot in the door, which a lot of these guys and gals deserve because fuck me, they work hard to produce good
Yeah.
quality indie games,
Oh yeah.
and I love it.
Some of these are great ideas. Like some indie games are great ideas that are simply so small in scope of their development team that they, without something like Game Pass, would never make enough waves to be seen.
Hmm. Hmm.
But throw it on Game Pass, and there's somebody looking for something to play. Like there's a game I found on Game Pass that was took place in Canada, and the whole thing was you're driving down a road in like a snowy backwoods, and you're trying to survive. It was a survival game, and it just was really well done. And I found out there's like 3 of them out there, and I can't remember the name of it for
Son
life of
of
me.
a bitch,
Brian-
they stole our idea.
Brian, that wasn't a Game Pass game. You just went outside.
Oh, Canada!
Hey, these graphics are pretty good for an indie game.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the lighting effects! You can almost see the sun like it's real.
You're just
Ray
walking
tracing,
around
man.
You're just walking around outside and people are looking at you weird. You're like, "Oh my god, everything looks so real."
Oh, the ray tracing on this bus stop! I
Oh,
can see my reflection. Oh God! All right, let's move on to topic number 2 because that one kind of blended in with the story, so we blew our load a little early. Topic 2 is more of a personal nature to you guys. So it is: what is your perfect gaming or your movie or your book reading day in your life? What does your rainy day game media look like?
I mean, it's almost invariably like gaming. I love watching movies. I don't do it anywhere near as much as I used to. And books, I'll read nearly every day. Like, I love reading. I'm reading the Silmarillion at the moment, and if you know, you know, because that is tricky to get
Don't read it
through.
when you're tired, or else you're not going to know what's going on.
Sam, don't read it when you're fully awake, because you still won't fucking know what's going on.
That's true.
But
That's from Game of Thrones, right?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's actually a Star
Yeah.
War.
I was going to say it's a
Star
prequel.
Wars.
It's a prequel to Star Wars. Yeah. But back in the day before, kids came along and what have you, and just those days where you just decided to do absolutely fuck all, you just get some snacks in and just play games all day. And, if you did that these days, I think I would feel like I'd wasted a day.
Yeah.
But back when you were younger, especially when you were younger, and like you had your N64, a couple of controllers, and you were just, if you're me, losing at GoldenEye a lot. But that's, I mean, I don't know if I'm getting the meat of the question, because I'm sort of talking like back in the day. I suppose now it's like, it's still just having time to sit down with a game and just de-stress like after a long day at work.
That's the key word there, right? Is de-stressing. For me, like, I'm gonna go something along the lines of like Power Wash Simulator or House Flipper.
Yeah, Power Wash Simulator is a good
It's-
time.
Yeah, or Civilization 5 or 6 is actually probably a big one. Is I'll start it in the morning there. I'll have my coffee going, and just through the day, that's all I do is I play the game and I get hooked into it. And you're right, it's like a wasted day, but it's also a day where I'm recharging myself. My battery, like my social battery's empty, and
Yeah.
I just don't have the energy to really do anything around the house. All my chores and homework are done. So yeah, it's for me, it is literally just for video game wise, it is something with no stress, no bosses, no big mission quests to do. Or it's sitting on the couch. We recently moved my wife's office to the spare room upstairs, and we turned her old office into a reading nook.
Ooh, I like
Oh.
that.
So we have a
So
couch in
good.
there. Yeah, we have a couch in there with some like shelves with our books and one of those fake fireplaces, some speakers. You put on a little bit of soft music there, and it's just a place to disconnect. Would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm going to be doing.
I'm going there. I'm going to take my
Yeah.
bottle of whiskey I got from that random island, and I'm going to that nook.
Oh my god, you just made me realize I need a globe that has a whiskey bar inside of it.
Oh,
Yes,
one of
you
those
do.
cool things. I'm going to be doing the same
How much
with
that costs?
my workout area that's in my basement that gets no use because the treadmill makes my head hit the ceiling. So just kind of rearranging that space. I think that's going to be a nice like rainy day reading nook down there, and then have the
Nice.
the TV and the consoles on the other side. Although I have so many consoles
God.
hooked through my TV right now, I might need to split. Because I just picked up my
Yeah.
parents. I picked up my parents' backwards compatible Wii now.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're it's getting a little crowded in the
Yeah,
Beagle's
I've got-
nest.
I've got 3 different television sets like to run everything, and I don't even want to tell you what it looks like behind there. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
God,
there
yeah.
is zero, like, what do you call it? Wire.
Oh, you don't have any cable management back there. It's all
That's
just
that's it.
complete
Cable
rat's
management.
nest.
No, it's just anything goes. Anything goes.
I made the attempt to manage mine
Yeah,
through a switch. So I've got like a 7-way HDMI switch, and that works out really well actually.
I mean, everything's plugged in. It's just I don't know where anything goes.
Oh,
And I usually have to cycle through like the SCARTs and cycle through the HDMIs to find what it is I'm playing. I should write all this shit down, but I'm just too lazy.
Yeah, my friggin' behind my consoles is a goddamn mess. I have a switch for the internet, so it's plugged directly into the router, and then it splits off to all the different things that use internet in my room, and then I have what 6 consoles hooked up, and then I have a splitter because I have the Philips Hue, which makes the TV light up, but it only has 4 spots, so that splitter goes into another splitter for consoles, and I have 2 power bars on the go, and I'm pretty sure this room is probably where all our energy goes every month.
Yeah, no shit. That
And no cable management either. Yeah, everything is just kind of shoved in the back because who am I trying to impress?
yeah, that's exactly what the captain's quarters upstairs is like. Yeah, it's just it's a mess, but it's my fucking mess. So, if I'm gonna, I'm gonna approach this topic from a slightly different angle and give you my perfect gaming, movie watching, and reading all at once because I've got an answer for this. So I'm gonna say my perfect gaming comfort food is probably the Mass Effect trilogy. Because I can just lose myself in those games for hours. Pickle, Randy, if you know, you know. Movies, I'm going to say I'm going to shout out the Back to the Future trilogy because those
Very
are
nice.
That's a good trilogy.
those are movies I can watch inside and out, front to back. I will never get tired of watching those films. And book reading.
Any movie about banging your mum is a movie for me.
Do you know what? I think there's an entire genre of movies for you then, Brian. Readily available online. And books, probably, it's a bit niche, but some might know it. The Drizzt books by R.A. Salvatore.
Ooh,
Sort of
okay.
Forgotten Realms series. There's about 30 or 40 of them at the moment, and that's just like old friends.
No, I'm oblivious to that one. If I had to pick a book, it'd be Ready Player One, and I've described it why in Read, Watch, Play.
Go and check them out.
Ready Player One again.
Yes.
Just not the film.
Just on repeat.
Hey,
No, the movie sucks. I'm sorry. It's not good. Yeah, for me,
Yep.
I think I've probably talked about my comfort games before. I think we may have discussed this, but mine's pretty much like any grindy RPG or Pokemon. In any game, I think any game that I can make progress on a day where I have time to game, like that makes the session feel much better. Like puttering around on like a like an open world game and not advancing anything feels kind of crummy sometimes. Like I don't know, like when playing Horizon Zero Dawn and just doing a bunch of like little shitty side quests and not really advancing the game at all can kind of feel crummy.
Even worse than side quests is when you see something like, oh, you know there's something hidden there, and then you spend like 3 hours climbing a building or something
Yeah.
only to find like nothing.
Or straying a little bit off the path and getting annihilated by some sort of creature or whatever. I don't know. Like a Final Fantasy pixel remaster game or a Pokemon, something like that. Like I'm talking Game Boy Pokemon.
Yeah, boy.
Or playing anything on my DS, I would say. And then as far as like, gosh, books, usually like if we're going specifically rainy day, I like a good short story collection. Give me a Ray Bradbury or Stephen King or gosh, what else do I have? A little Kurt Vonnegut. Otherwise, movies, I would say like you'd think I would say Star Wars, but I would actually say any like 80s or 90s comedy. Like I want to watch Caddyshack or like a Jay and Silent Bob movie or fucking Dirt.
Something you can sit back
Yeah.
and not really focus on the story, but still understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Dirty Work. Perfect.
Yeah, Dirty Work is a good movie for that.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I've not seen it.
Fucking love Dirty Work.
I've not.
It's with a Canadian great Norm Macdonald.
Yeah,
I've not seen Caddyshack either. To be fair.
Oh,
be
come
fair.
on. To be fair, you should
be
watch
fair.
Caddyshack.
To be fair.
Caddyshack is brilliant.
But, yeah. All right. You ready for the wheel?
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Give me the wheel. Roll
All right,
it
again.
once, and then we'll skip that one and do the next one.
All right. And again, I will be providing my a cappella wheel spinning noises.
Brian, what else that tongue do?
Just ask my wife.
And she'll say, I don't know.
You guys might like this topic.
Go.
Okay.
Top 5 favorite games and why.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's oh god damn.
On the spot.
do some
This means this
homework.
list is subject to change
right.
based on further thought, but
True.
top 5 games.
Are we doing this in any particular
and
order?
why? Yes, Alan Sam the Meat.
No, I just
Ba-dum-ching.
ha ha ha.
What do you mean any particular order?
Like, are
You
we?
can go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think
Are we just?
that would be probably best.
Yeah, but are we actually ranking these, or just giving 5 games that?
You know what? Your personal list is your personal list. How about this? We do it the way you feel it should be done.
Absolutely. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sam, you got anything?
Do I?
You got 5?
Yeah, I think I could give you 5.
I think I need a minute to nail down 4 and 5.
Okay. I'm gonna say, shoot. Probably let's throw Sonic 2 in there just for nostalgia purposes. Give me, I would say, GoldenEye. I am of the camp that it's still fun and holds up. Give me Ocarina of Time. Ocarina. Because that one I could play with my eyes closed if I really wanted to. Give me a Final Fantasy VII and a Pokemon game. I would say probably. I think I've mentioned Fire Red Leaf Green as being like the perfect iteration of Pokemon, so I would pick those.
That is a good choice.
That's my top
good
5.
choice.
If I'm going off the dome.
Off the dome. I'm
That's the best way to do it. Put you on the spot.
I'm definitely going to agree with Sonic 2 because that is my entire childhood. I still am Sonic obsessed, and Sonic 2, not to go too into detail because we will be talking about it on an upcoming episode of Retrotopia, available wherever you get your podcasts every Sunday. Come on and join us. Don't know where that came from.
Well done.
Thank you. It's probably like the second game I ever beat, so I just love it so much. It's perfect. Not to spoil things too much. I'm going to fuck. There's definitely going to be a Mass Effect game in there.
You just don't know which one, right?
I think it has to be. I think it has to be number two. Yeah, I think two is probably the best one. It literally could have been like the entire trilogy, but I don't want to give away that many spots. It's just a perfect story. It's glorious. Like there are stakes, you know, there are choices, very difficult at times. It's just got everything. Lips right on the mic. Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger.
Ooh,
Uh,
shivers down my spine.
Shivers. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is a no-brainer because it's the literal best RPG ever made. I will not take any questions. What's that? Three?
I don't know. I've just been trying to get over you saying Chrono Trigger right up to the mic. I don't know where you're at.
Chrono Trigger.
And you know what? I didn't think I could recover that fast, but I need to tell.
So Sonic Mass Effect.
So,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go for a Zelda game, but I think I'm gonna go for Link's Awakening, but on the Game Boy Color, Link's Awakening DX on the Game Boy
Ooh,
Color.
that's not the extra
I
dungeon.
It has the one in color. Fuck, we played that game. Like I played that game so much as a kid. Like that was at one point like one of my only Game Boy games, and I just play it over and over and over, and I will never get tired of playing that game. It is beautiful, and the ending makes me weep like a baby. So that's four, and I'm definitely forgetting something that's going to bite me in the arse later on.
again, this list is subject to change based on when you
I
have more time to think about it.
I know. I'm just trying to think. Do I put Soul Reaver in there? No, I think I'm going to have to go with.
Nintendo pets or Nintendogs.
I think it might have to be a Metroid game, but for the life of me, I can't figure out which one. Maybe Super Metroid, because I think that's the. When I say it's the peak of the series, I mean there are a lot of peaks that are close to that. Um, I think it's just really where they nailed down the formula. It's just again just it sounds stupid, a perfect Metroidvania. Of course it is, but it's either that or Symphony of the Night, 1A 1B. But I think I've got to give it to Samus.
All right,
I
awesome.
think that's five, and I've just realised I didn't.
That's five.
I
Yep.
just realised I didn't put Resident Evil in there, and now I feel bad.
Yeah, no, it's too late. Your list is locked in. Everybody has heard it. Resident Evil sucks. Throw it in the garbage.
Yep, and you never get to play it again.
Aww,
Exactly.
aww.
All right. I'll go with my list. Obviously, making you guys go first. I had a chance to jot some stuff down. So, number 5 is a Zelda game. Can you guys guess which one it is?
Minish
Bet you
Cap.
won't.
Minish
Link
Cap.
Between
No.
Worlds.
Fuck.
Did I
Oh,
get
eat
it?
shit, Sam.
Ah, ha, ha. I got
Yeah,
it.
you got it. Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, I think, is one of the best, if not the best, Zelda game out there. It builds off of Link to the Past's world, and it just does it better.
Yeah, that's
And it does it better than pretty much every Zelda game out there. So, that's my number 5. My number 4 is Super Mario World because I grew up with it. But Super Mario is the perfect 2D platformer, in my humble opinion. It does everything right. It's vibrant, it's colorful, the levels are challenging, they're different. The items are very consistent throughout the game. They don't hinder or do anything like that. So I just find that to be like one of the, well, probably the best platformer out there. Number 3 is Civilization 5 or 6 and possibly 7 when it comes out. Those games I just find fun and very relaxing. I love the turn-based combat system in them and just the whole civilization building aspect. Nothing beats when you're up in the nuclear age and you come up to a civilization that's still in the Stone Age. And, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, attack my nuclear sub with your Trebek, or what's that ship? A really shitty ship you get at the beginning that can't even go on the ocean.
The Trireme?
Trireme, that's it. Anyways.
Gotta stick to those coasts or else you're going to sink.
Yeah, fuck. Number 2 would be Final Fantasy VI, one of the, if not the best RPG out there. It's really 1A, 1B with my number 1, which I bet you guys won't guess what that is.
Can you whisper it into the microphone? So yeah,
Final Fantasy... Oh yeah, I'm going to AMSR this shit in a second. But Final Fantasy VI is just like this grandiose story, and I love how throughout the game you get one of the best villains in gaming, even for people who don't like RPGs still know of Kefka.
Do you know what?
And of course, number 1.
My dumbass was sitting here just like listening, just thinking, what is he going to choose for number 1? And it just hit me, and I'm just like, oh, I'm such an idiot.
That's right. It's Chrono Trigger.
Oh.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, Alan said it best. It is like the perfect RPG. I play it annually, and I will continue to play it every year because there is nothing wrong with that game at all.
No.
I can't think of anything that frustrates me about it.
Perfect.
They nailed it.
Perfect.
It'll never get better.
I got to say, look, I appreciate the Link Between Worlds. That's a sleeper pick, that is. But that game is fucking brilliant.
I don't know why that doesn't get a lot more praise.
No, I know.
In the Zelda world. Like, I never hear anybody talk about it, but goddamn, it's so good.
When did it come out?
It just sucks that it's not that accessible.
Yeah, that might be its problem, really, is that not everyone had a 3DS, or like the target demographic may have moved on from handheld gaming or not have been looking for an experience like that on a handheld.
That's gotta be like, I mean, come on, that could be converted to Switch easy enough.
I would think so. Did it use the bottom screen a ton? I have never played it. I have a copy though.
I mean, I think you could switch your items out and what have you, and maps and things like that, but it's just like, I mean, that can't be a difficult fix, can it? Just have a menu
update
screen.
The interface, and just make it like every other Zelda game. And if you guys want, it's currently valued at $20 American and $16.42 in the PAL region for the 3DS.
Oh, I've got it.
It's pretty easy to pick up.
Yeah, that painting mechanic is just brilliant.
Oh, beautifully done.
Yep.
Right. That is our top 5. That is our off-the-cuff wheel of discussion top 5. So let's get into our final topic before we talk about the end of the show, and then we get into our exclusive Patreon topic, which will happen after the end of the free version of the show. So if you want to hear the Patreon version, you have to join the Patreon.
It's called RetroTopia
you can
After
do so
Dark.
for free.
Sorry.
There you go.
It really is after dark here as well.
Oh yeah, it is. The sun is setting.
It's
I do
dark here now.
I do the entire rest of the episode with my lips on the mic.
And my pants are off.
Nice. I like it. All right, so the hook for this episode, we all know about the great console wars of the 1990s. But we're now in the Xbox versus PlayStation era. Is the war over, or is Sony running away? Is this a war, or is Sony running away with it? Does Nintendo count in the scope of this generation's war? Let's take a look at some of the competitors through the generations. So starting with Atari losing to themselves in the bubble bursts and the rise of Nintendo. And I put a little chart down here from Wikipedia for you guys.
I like that chart.
If you want to look at the chart, just console generations from Wikipedia, just put that in Google, and it's the first option that pops up. Has a little chart down there. Has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different sources who all describe what they think the console generations are. So for the sake of this one, let's go with Wikipedia.
Yeah, I like
down at the bottom.
I like having the Magnavox Odyssey in its own generation. basically,
For sure.
because
It really was.
because
For
what the
sure.
fuck is that?
that
Yeah.
that is grandpappy. That is
That's what is that?
that's where it all
1973.
began. Oh god.
Yeah, so looking at this chart, the Atari 2600 was competitive with Pong, the home version, Fairchild Channel F, which I think like 6 people ever heard of, and the Intellivision, which, again, wasn't a huge seller.
Hey, we got one to hook up here,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to playing with that.
I saw the picture of that. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that'll be neat.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the fall of video games in the early 80s? I know you guys weren't around for that because you're youngins.
That's before my
Only
time,
just.
that's for sure.
Only just, I was born on the upswing. Um, I don't know. I mean, like you said, hilariously, Atari losing to themselves, which is just it's funny, but it's true. They did really shit the bed by
Yeah, and
spreading everything too thin, and
here's a funny statistic: is Atari actually, like, the 2600 sold 30 million, which is more than the Xbox Series everything, the original Xbox, the GameCube, and the Wii U, and the Vita,
wow.
and the Master System,
Hey, you leave my precious
and
Master
Game
System
Gear,
out of
and
it.
Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast,
Stop, I'm
and the
already
Master
dead.
System Brazilian.
But yeah,
Actually, I didn't know it sold that much.
oh yeah, they had all sorts of exclusives over there, which is really frustrating because I keep seeing games that I want to play and they were only released in Brazil, which
Yeah,
sucks.
there's a Brazilian version of the Master System that's separate on this best console list.
Yeah,
That's
there you go.
crazy.
Yeah, right. But yeah, we were talking about, I mean, is this a war? Is it? I don't know. This isn't a.
Well,
No,
we'll,
this
we'll
is a
get to the current one. I've broke this into 4 parts here.
Oh, I see how we're doing things. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just basically talking about the Atari era there. Do you think, what happened with Atari and the way they tried to handle the business with, you know, screwing developers and then basically tanking the entire market themselves? Do you think they're justified in being embarrassed by losing to themselves?
well, yeah.
I
I think
mean,
it's like a cocaine fueled lack of comprehension
yeah.
of like
There was no cocaine in the 80s.
Brian was there.
Yeah, I don't remember too much coke. I,
I don't
I
know.
was a child.
On one hand, like yes, but on the other hand, I mean, let's not let that mar what a absolute beauty the Atari 2600 was. I mean, yes, things went tits up, but there's some classics on the Atari 2600, and for a lot of people, like this was how you got the arcade into the home. I mean, never mind the Fairchild and home Pong, and like you said, not many people, but almost, I don't know, not everyone had an Atari 2600, but like you said, like
I did.
it. I mean, I've got one upstairs, but it it sold and it brought gaming into the home and it truly sort of set us on the path to where we are now. And they had to learn some lessons on the way by punching themselves in the dick.
Yeah, and then the rise of Nintendo saved the gaming industry, leading to the '90s, which we all know is the Nintendo versus Sega war.
Now that was a war.
Um,
That was a
that's
fucking
the real
war.
console war. I mean, I don't think any of the generation that's maybe a little older than us or our parents who may have played an Atari or an Intellivision, it wasn't like they weren't having schoolyard, arguments like, oh no, the Intellivision sucks or the Atari sucks. Like we were at each other's throats with
For
Sega
sure.
and Nintendo.
For
Oh yeah,
sure.
I loved how they tackled that era as well. The commercials, the competitive games. Oh, it looks better on Sega with its mass or blast processing. Oh, Nintendo's better because we actually have games. It was God. It was a great time to be alive, and the person who had both consoles was considered like a waffler. You either had a fucking Super Nintendo or you had a Genesis
No,
or Master System.
nobody had both. Nobody. That's like in
Oh,
Back to
some
the
people
Future
had
1.
both.
That's like in Back to the Future
Yeah, some
1, where it's
people
just
did.
like nobody has two TV sets. It's
I had
like
a
nobody had both.
I had a friend in
I
elementary
have so
school
many
that
TV
had.
sets. I have two sitting in the basement.
It's crazy. I had a friend in elementary school that had, like, if I'm looking at this this chart that you put here, Brian, in that 3DO Jaguar Saturn, like they had them all. What is that? Generally fifth generation is what they call that, but like
Yeah.
yeah. Um
They had a Jaguar.
yes.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah. And like a
Yeah,
Saturn.
Atari's last attempt.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a Saturn and a PlayStation and a 64. I mean, like obviously we played like the 64 and the PlayStation the most, but I definitely remember there being a Saturn around and at least a
Yeah.
3DO.
I'm throwing
But
I'm throwing
it's
shade at
nuts.
the Jaguar, knowing full well that my beloved Sega Saturn just ate shit.
Yeah. But I also remember the game review sections in Game Informer having 5 different tabs because they had to review games for 5 different consoles at that time.
Hmm.
And then slowly but surely the Jaguar and the 3DO sections just kind of died out, and then you ended up with just and then eventually the Saturn too, and you just ended up with like PlayStation 64 and Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Man, the Jaguars sold so little systems, it's not even on the list of all-time console sales.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, was
that's
it
a
the
tough
Jaguar
one.
that was that's the one that plugged into, was it the disc thing that plugged into? I'm trying to remember now. Because there were two.
Well, are we talking Sega? Because like Sega had like
No,
the CD
no,
and the
I had
32X.
I had the full Tower of Power. Like that thing
Oh,
was awesome.
Tower of
The
Power.
Tower of Power, and I will brook no shade thrown at my beloved Tower of Power. To be fair,
I think that was part of Sega's problem was you always had to buy a new peripheral to play
too
games.
many add-ons.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you buy the Mega Drive there, then you had to buy the 32X, and then you had to buy the Sega CD, then you had to buy a power station to actually power everything together because it was, drawing too much energy from the grid.
yeah. But they were trying. They were trying something different, and you got to respect that. You have to respect it,
It
or
just
else.
wasn't the model that won out at the end of the day.
Yeah,
No.
what they should have tried to do was sell consoles.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, it's a bold strategy.
Let me say that closer into the mic. They should have sold consoles.
Who knows? Who knows?
But no, all right. So we done that. We'll probably talk about the console wars in depth in a later episode of Retrotopia. I think that'd be a great topic to discuss.
Yep.
I'm gonna lock that in someday.
Someday.
Anyways, third one is here's a question: how do you define different consoles? I had this discussion with somebody probably about a year and a half ago. They think the 3DS and the DS count as the same console.
No.
No, they're different.
No.
There's games when
No.
there's games that you can play on one but not the other, then it's not the same.
Exactly my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
That was the point I made, and they just adamant that no, because you can play them both on the 3DS. That means they're both a DS. They both have dual screens.
Well,
No.
No.
I mean, I can sort of squint and sort of not understand their argument, but I can sort of see where they're kind of coming from. But it's just like it does come down to the games. If the games are different, and not just through backwards compatibility, if the games
right.
are different and you can't play the new games on an older console. I'm just thinking, make sure I'm not
See,
tripping myself up here. I think that basically that's a different console, right? You can't play 3DS games on a DS.
yeah, well, their biggest argument actually involved the Switch there because they said the Switch Lite is its own console because it's only handheld. You can't plug it into a TV like the Switch.
No, the Switch.
I said it's not because it plays Switch games and only Switch games,
Right.
so it's just literally a Switch that you can't plug into a console. It's a Switch Lite, if you may.
Well,
Right. There's
I mean-
there's only a handful of games that you can't play on a Switch Lite, like some of the Mario Party games and some of the there's like a.
Well,
yeah.
anything you have to have a controller separate from.
Right.
Yeah.
But that
I mean,
doesn't make
well,
it a separate console.
By the same argument, is the Game Boy and the Game Boy Pocket two different consoles? I would say no.
No.
It's just
There's
one.
the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color.
Yes, because
Yes.
there were Game Boy Color
That's a
games.
better argument
Yeah.
because yeah.
Well, no, my argument is for the Switch Lite because it's basically just a smaller version of the Switch, which is what the Pocket
Oh yeah, yeah.
was.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so it's just
Right.
like,
Oh yeah.
obviously the
I see. You were making a competent point there before we cut you off. Excellent.
well, I get one a month, so one competent point.
Oh God, and we just completely derailed your train of thought. That's
You,
awesome.
you get one competent point per month, and you wasted it on us.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys get my competent point.
Oh, thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you, wife, for allowing us to partake in your competent point this month, and apologize for everything that you're going to say after. All right. And finally, with the current generation of consoles, do you think we're having another console war going on?
Nah.
Like, go back to the original question.
Not really.
Because PlayStation is very handily handing Xbox their ass. But the Switch, which can be argued to be last generation, the PS4, Xbox One generation, is running away with the sales numbers.
I don't think it's a war anymore.
I don't
I think
so either.
I think everyone's pursuing their own little niche. You know, Brian,
That's where I was gonna go. Yeah.
you like Dragon Ball, yeah?
I like dragging these balls through your chin.
Heyo.
Yes, I do.
So this is the stupidest fucking analogy I'm going to come up with, but the console wars of the 90s, I think, was everyone trying to get to Super Saiyan. They're all competing with each other for those different levels of that transformation, yeah. And now we're sort of getting what is now Dragon Ball Super. Like, one's going Ultra Instinct, one's going Ultra Ego, one's Beast. They're exploring their own avenues for growth, and some of them suck. And some of them are awesome. And you see, this is what happens when I make my one competent point. Everything afterwards is just shit.
No, that made sense.
I know what you're going with, but which one is sucks in Dragon Ball Z? I like that they're finally branching Goku and Vegeta away from each other, and Gohan is not just following in his father's footsteps or differentiating the half Saiyan, half human blood aspect.
That hair fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
Oh, it does. No, it absolutely sucks. But Beast Mode Gohan is a good iteration of where Gohan should have went.
It's kind of an arse pull, though.
But no, yeah, you're right. That was like the dumbest hairstyle ever. Like, fuck off.
But yeah, you see my point.
I see your point. Yeah. Personally, Sam, I'm gonna let you weigh in first. What do you think about the current generations? I know you're a PlayStation 5 guy.
Yeah.
Do you have an Xbox?
My girlfriend has an Xbox, so that's what we've been playing The Quarry on, and I've kind of just sat on the couch while she's played, so I kind of have been able to get my first look at what the current iteration of Xbox looks like. And I think really each of the major console platforms offers a different enough product. It's kind of like, I mean, to go back to Alan's Dragon Ball analogy, like Super Nintendo and Sega were trying to go after the same market base, and same thing with the generation after that, the PlayStation, the 64, or the Saturn. Now I think there's enough gamers out there of varying generations and varying play styles that like Xbox is great for Game Pass and the streaming. You've got the Steam Deck that just broke onto the scene, and that's like kind of a more PC geared handheld console. And then you've got Switch, and Switch has Nintendo exclusives, and maybe it's not the highest powered, but it's got innovative games, and you've got your franchises that everyone knows and loves. And PlayStation is kind of the high powered, I guess not super console, but like that's where you go for like peak graphics. And I'd argue Xbox too, but it's depending on what you want, there's something out there for you, and it's different enough that having a multi-console home is probably way more common now than it was back then.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person for multi-consoles. Not only do we have two, or like we have every console, like I have a PlayStation, Xbox, and a Switch, we actually have 2 of each, because me and my wife learned when we started dating that we're not good at sharing things like this. So we just decided at one point we will buy our own of each one, and that way we don't have to, like, oh, you playing the PlayStation right now, and it's not all hooked up to one TV. So we don't actually love each other. We're just financially tied together, paying off consoles. Oh man,
that seems to have worked out quite nicely, though. 2 of everything.
It has. Yeah. The more we can ignore each other, the better we are. But going further on, I think you guys are right, absolutely right, with the fact that there really is no more war anymore. It's people have picked their teams. Like you see it online all the time. People are like so dedicated to one console that they can't even fathom the other console being good. So it's like, I like Xbox, you fucking PlayStation nerds, or vice versa. But then again, of course, everybody loves the Switch because it does no harm. It doesn't get in the way of your precious Call of Duties.
No, it's just where you go if you want those sweet Nintendo exclusives.
Exactly.
Yeah. Switch seems to be where you go as your secondary console. Like either have like an Xbox or a PlayStation as your primary, and then you probably have a secondary as a Switch. Like that's or you have a Switch. And multiple
where
Switches.
do you guys see the where do you guys see the next generation going with, like, the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Skibbity Riz Ohio, or whatever it's going to be called?
Fucking hell. I hate you, Brian.
It's going to be the Xbox Sigma.
But do you think, okay, with Xbox really pushing the streaming Game Pass model, do you think Xbox is going to do anything other than develop something that streams their games?
I think that's
for the next generation.
That's where they want to go.
And that would put PlayStation on the market pretty much by themselves. They don't compete with the Wii for sales. It's you buy a PlayStation and a Wii, or you buy an Xbox and a Wii. Sorry, not Wii, Switch.
Just say,
God damn.
Brian is still buying the Wii.
Don't send me back to the Wii generation.
I'd still buy the Wii. My brother has said he'll lend me his Wii there and a copy of Super Paper Mario, which I'm super excited for. So it's on my mind.
Actually, yeah. Now that I am low key excited that I can start collecting for the GameCube and or Nintendo Wii again. Or just in general.
Hoorah.
There's some good shit.
Those games are cheap.
No, they're not cheap. But I mean, some of the Wii games are pretty reasonable.
Get all the Metroid Primes.
That's that for sure.
For
what are we talking about?
I don't know.
We were just talking about the next generation of consoles and where we see them going. Do you think the Super Switch is going to have dual screens?
I sure hope so.
As the rumors suggest. Do you think GameCube's going to come to the Super Switch on launch?
Fucking better.
So. Yeah. It's time. Well,
there's rumors that it's coming around.
Well, here's the thing is I don't know. Yeah, go ahead, Alan, while
I think Sega are going to come back with a new console. They're not. It's not even fucking close. But I'm just putting it into the universe so that hopefully
that would be neat. That'd be really neat.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be like the biggest like comeback in history?
Oh yeah.
Like Sega just announced that they're all over, up and down, without so much as a buy your leave.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I like the silence is my answer to that.
You needed to recover.
Well, here's two things.
Yeah.
Here's an observation about GameCube. I don't think. Because I think those games are still considered quality to the point where you can give like a little spit shine to it and repackage it. And some of these games are being sold at full price. Luigi's Mansion. Well, that was a DS game, but some of these games are Paper Mario. That was the example I was looking for sure. And I don't know. I think if you now go back and also Mario Sunshine was on the 3D All Stars, but
which you can't buy anymore.
Now you can't buy anymore. Fuck's sake. where was I going with that? Oh, is that they've already sort of started down this path of remastering and repackaging and reselling these games from the GameCube era, and I think they're still of high enough quality. Like the technology between the GameCube and now has not moved quite as far as, let's say, like the Nintendo 64 and before until now. Like you're not going to see, like a GoldenEye remastered or whatever is going to look a completely different game. Paper Mario, what was it? Thousand Year Door, like that. The difference between the original Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door and the cleaned up version that they put on the Switch, is not all that different. But they've already kind of committed to, like, we're gonna put some shine on this and sell it to you. So now if they go back and they make a GameCube Online, they're leaving money on the table now because they've established already that people would pay for this. Like, Skyward Sword. They could go back and do Twilight Princess.
They've already maximized their sales of those games. Suckers, you already bought them. We're going to now put them on, GameCube Online, and
I don't know.
We know you're going to pay for it.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, yeah, they could do a GameCube Online, but then what are they going to do? They're going to put Twilight Princess on there. Like, yeah, it would all be lesser tier games. I mean, it would be like your Mario Tennis and Mario Strikers, like the Mario sports games, maybe the Mario Kart, which would be good. Super Smash would be great, but also like all the ones you really want, like, your Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Paper Mario, I don't know what else, Mario Galaxy, all that kind of stuff is going to be held at a premium, and it's going to be kind of a disappointing service if it exists.
Yeah.
Well, it's absolutely fine. I mean, especially if they're not going to bump the price up of the expansion pass, which will most guaranteed to be on if they did release it. So it's, it is what it is. Yeah. Those games that they can't remake and they can't sell, that people still want to play and will still pay money for, but just not full price. That's what the GameCube service is for.
Right.
And yeah, you can still put some of the older games like Thousand Year Door when the sales start dying and nobody's buying it anymore. You throw it on the GameCube, you make a little more money off it.
I guess so. I mean, and now that the streaming and or subscription model very solidly exists in the current, I guess, era of gaming and of media content, I guess, as at large, I really hope that they don't kind of have to start back again from square one with it. I hope that it all just, anything that's been released will stay on there now at this point, because they had Virtual Console in the Wii era and that kind of died off, and then they kind of restarted it again on the Switch, and let's just hope that whatever the next Switch is, they don't have to go back to square one again and start re-releasing things from scratch.
I believe they already said they're moving the NSO to this next Switch as well.
Well, that's good. That's the right answer, I guess, because otherwise, like,
all right, let's wrap up the normal show there and get to the Patreon topic. So if you're on Patreon, stick around for a little bit. We have one more topic to go. But for anybody who's listening to this on the free feed, if you want to listen to that Patreon topic, you can join our Patreon for free at patreon.com/retrotopia. There you can comment on shows, submit comments to the host of the show, participate in polls, give suggestions for polls, which we got to come up with another one soon, and a little bit more. And if you're on the hero tier, you can you get a shout out on the episode, and you can pick a quick play for one of us to play. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you anyways. Alan, do you know where they can find us on social media?
Oh, they can find all of our socials at linktree/retrotopia, linktr.ee/retrotopia. I did that so quickly, I'm not sure if I spelled that correctly, but you know where to find it. Come and check out, what is it? X? That's the one, isn't it? Not Twitter anymore. X, Instagram, that other thing that you said about.
It's called Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
It's quickly taking over Shitter's, base there, and apparently a lot of people like it. So.
And Facebook as well. All the usual stuff.
Absolutely. In our YouTube channel, where Alan has posted a picture of himself opening a box.
That's true. I did. Yeah.
marked mature. All right, thanks for listening. All right, bye.